So the first two items, you wouldn't be able to address. And then that takes us to, prep for the meeting. If you want to have a discussion about that, and, like I said, we have Rodney here.
I think that would be a good use of time, and then we can line things down. I don't know if there's an interest in doing an email vote. I don't know how urgent these are in order to move forward on any of these projects. I mean, the goals and objectives could wait, but
Waiting until your next meeting is not gonna, from my perspective, not gonna adversely impact either of the motions.
okay.
Rod,
So-
Yep.
go ahead, Melissa.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, so we can go ahead and we could go ahead and talk about this. And Rodney,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll jump in here. Good evening, everybody. We've all been to public meetings before, but I think this would follow a kind of a normal public meeting format. But I was talking to the engineer at Mead Hunt and made sure that we were on the same page. So basically, what we're recommending is that the Walk Bike Drive Committee would open the meeting, welcome everyone, and then say whatever it is you want to say about the committee and your goals and things like that. Then you can turn it over to me, and I'll talk about what the purpose of tonight's meeting would be and what the project goals would be. And then once I have that out, then I'm going to turn it over to Brian at Mead Hunt. And he's going to do a few things. He's going to present the traffic data that was collected and show any significant findings there. Then he's going to discuss the crash data that we're still compiling, and I'd like to talk about that in a little bit. And then the third thing are just some general observations that he's seen. But he doesn't want to come across like, well, we got this all designed already. Why are we even here? It's just some general observations. And at that point, I think we would turn it back to your committee to do the public part of the meeting. At the meeting, we'll also have large drawings, aerial photographs that are what we call our base plan for the two projects that show the property lines and all that stuff. If people want to refer to them as they're speaking, they can go up and point to them or do whatever they feel comfortable doing. I think you would invite them to speak. You'd monitor their time, and then when all's said and done and we've compiled all the information, I think then we would say we have another public meeting. Hopefully it'll be in April where we come back with some design concepts, and we really encourage everyone to come back to that meeting. So that's kind of our recommendation from Brian and I as far as how we think it should go, but we're open to obviously anything that you all want to do.
so after everybody goes through their presentations, will it kind of break down into like an open house forum, or do you want people to actually take a microphone and speak?
Well, that's a good question. I think whatever you're comfortable with. I guess we were envisioning one person at a time would grab the microphone and speak and say what their observations and experiences have been in these two particular areas and what they would like to see the projects address. And maybe we need to specifically say these are the things we're looking for tonight. That was my thoughts, but does that make sense to you, Melissa?
Yep, that's fine. Works either way.
You know, I don't know how many people will attend. You all have better feel for that, but you know, give them 5 minutes or whatever and loosely enforce that.
But my Oh, go ahead.
Just a couple suggestions. Is it possible to maybe do like a hybrid format where we do like a certain amount of time where we have that sort of scheduled discussion and then have kind of a more open-ended section where people can kind of just drop in and provide some feedback in some other way? Like, MDOT's been doing a lot with, they'll just have kind of I ran into Melissa at the Kenilworth Avenue pedestrian safety plan last week, and they just had very large printouts of Kenilworth Avenue, and they had different kind of stickers or post-it notes that people could flag areas that they're having problems in. And that, I think, was a way where, somebody that can only show up for 5 minutes and may not be interested to or in speaking or be reluctant to, stay for the whole meeting, can provide some sort of feedback and leave kind of on their own accord. I've personally liked kind of parts of that format because, again, it's like if you can only show up for half an hour, you can still contribute. You don't have to be there kind of start to finish to be able to like meaningfully participate. So that would just be one suggestion. I like the idea though of giving people an opportunity to speak. So I think that would be good, but there's some other way of giving people options and providing additional feedback, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dan. We definitely can do that. We'll have these big roll drawings, just like you're describing, and part of the process we just need to tell people if you want to just fill that out. That's fine.
Well, that's a good idea, Dan, because it was nice to have, I mean, the Kenilworth corridor is pretty lengthy, but it was nice to have it all spread out on a table and people could just, talk to the people involved in the project and then put sticky notes where things were important to them. But it was open house forum.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in, but I also found it helpful too, just because I feel like I had some conversations with other people that live in the area of experiences that they had that I don't know that I would hear otherwise. And like, again, I'm not sure if they would have raised their hand to speak in a different format versus just kind of talking about something they've run into. And then I guess the other question I had, and I know it's an ongoing issue, is access for folks who English is not their first language or may not be able to speak English. Is there any, I know the notice included kind of a Spanish flyer, but will there be an option for non-English speakers to participate in some format too?
We'll have a translator on site, and it will likely be one of our staff members who has, some background on what's going on, has helped at least put this together. And so we're very familiar with working with residents in the community and just helping them feel engaged and part of the event.
Jessica, will somebody typically take minutes or notes, or how do you see that?
So I was thinking about that as well. We won't have if we're able to do this in town hall, we obviously won't have our AV system quite ready, but we'll figure out a way somebody can take notes, or we'll figure that component out.
Okay.
So the slides that you had put together there, are those going to be the notices?
The flyers that were on the screen, yes, that's the notice that was in the town crier, and those are the notices that will go out to folks in the area.
I'm gonna get back on my soapbox where I live. Do you want to add something in there that says if you need an accessibility accommodation, please contact Jessica in case somebody wants an interpreter or large print or braille or whatever? I haven't really noticed that on town notices before, but
Okay.
And if you put that on there, you do have to have plan to actually provide the accommodation.
Well, and that's exactly what I was thinking about, is that component. So.
And the way that a lot of agencies fulfill that is they have a contract. They find a contract interpreter if necessary. If you need for someone who's deaf. Or captioning. And that really should be on all the town stuff. Just like we provide Spanish options for things.
And I see Chief Turner's on here. We're still trying to get the crash data compiled. I've connected with Tracy Perrin, is that how you say her last name? And I'm hoping that she can get us the crash data of the Natoli, Lafayette area or the town center. And if she could give us the crash reports, even if they're redacted, I'd just like to see if there's any patterns or anything at all that would make us think, is it nighttime problems? Is it driver error? Is it pedestrian error? What are the reasons for the crashes in this area? It doesn't look like there's been that many, but if we could get any information like that in the next week or so, I'd greatly appreciate that, Chief.
So you're correct. It is Tracy Perrin. What is the time frame of data that you're looking for?
Whatever is convenient for you. In an ideal world, I'd like to have like 5 years. Most recent, back like 5 years.
Okay, I'll speak with her tomorrow. I don't know how long 5 years of data would take. It's a good amount of research. So
okay,
we'll do our best.
Whatever. I know you're busy, so whatever you can do for us,
Sure.
will only make our presentation better.
Understood.
Thank you.
Rod, do you need anything else to assist in finalizing the presentation or anything?
No, I don't think so. I think that we have everything compiled. The base plans are done. The traffic data is done. Yeah, so we just gotta get this crash data cleaned up, and then I think we'll be ready.
Great.
Sorry, one other question or suggestion. I apologize, Rodney, if I missed this, but I think the town staff shared the scope of work. It mentioned some kind of several kind of things that are non-negotiables or barriers that can't be overcome, like the position of utility poles, things like that. Will that be clearly explained to folks? Because I do think people have ideas that may not. I think Councilmember Ifio kind of alluded to this, or Hing Yang alluded to this last time, where people might have some ideas that might just not be feasible, and maybe just listing some of those out in advance so people don't start heading down that.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's part of my responsibility. I think with my initial comments, I'll add a little section on some realistic limitations. And I took all your notes. I took notes from our meeting on November 18th, and I sent those to the project engineer, and that was one of the things I included, but I'll have to go back and check everything, make sure we got all the boxes checked from the comments from last time.
So we won't have a meeting before then, but what's the best way to kind of regroup before that public meeting? Just meet earlier, I guess, like show up half an hour earlier, 15-20 minutes early to go over the displays and conversations and such.
I think so.
Okay.
And if there are other tasks we can help with, and in between, just let us know. And then I think feel like it might be helpful for us to confirm which members are going to be able to show up in person. I think Jeffrey mentioned he might be traveling at that time, so just making sure we have people that can help.
Well, I have his comments from last time, so if he can't be there, I'll still get him into the mix.
I'm sure he will provide them to you at some point. He's not shy and he lives right there.
Jessica, I'll get with you, a few days beforehand to make sure that we're on the same page as far as when we're meeting and who's doing what.
Yeah, we'll
Or
probably need to work
logistics.
out some logistics, Rod, because we don't have a lot of the supplies on site, because town hall's been closed for so long. So we need to make sure that we have all of the supplies you need for the, the meeting part. So let's touch base in the next week or so and just
Okay.
make sure we have everything.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anything else on the agenda, Melissa, that you wanted to cover?
I don't think so. I had another item that I found out about after the agenda. I wasn't thinking about it when the agenda came out, but I thought I might bring up if the city is interested, if we're done talking about everything else. We'll call it public comment. So there is an initiative called Project Sidewalk. And I don't know if anybody at the city has heard about it before. It's out of the University of Washington. And I know the guy who has been working on it for years now. But it's a way for the public to get involved and log, I guess, places that appear to be accessible or not accessible through Google Map, pretty much. And they've done it in many places in the US. They've also done a large portion of Germany. And January, they've set it up to be kind of a contest where you can develop teams. So like we could have teams in each ward, or we could do whatever. And it's a competition to see how many locations you can map. And it's really simple because John does it at TRB and other webinar demonstrations that I've seen. And I didn't know if the town would be interested in doing that. It would be a way to get a start on understanding where our accessibility issues are in town, and could be the base of a transition plan. It doesn't cost anything. They had they developed a curriculum for schools too. And I passed that on to Chris Irwin because I know he works at the College Park Academy. But it's a really cool program, and it's based out of the University of Washington. They've been doing it for years. I don't know if the city is interested in it. I could send the information, you guys could talk about it, but it runs from January 1st to the 31st as a competition, but the town can do it at any time. I mean, it's kind of an ongoing thing.
So if you want to email some information over, Melissa, as
Okay.
with all good ideas, we'll take a look at it and see what we can work into our bandwidth.
I know.
I did plan on sharing with the larger group tonight that March and April are very tight for us on the staff side of things. So we'll be finalizing the budget in March. We have the State of the Town presentation in March, as well as in April, we have 3 budget public hearings in addition to other meetings. And I would encourage this group that if you plan to meet in March and April, that you have a concise agenda, simply because our bandwidth is going to be very limited during that time.
Will there be items specific to the budget that you'll want us to weigh in on during that time, or? things that town will be interested in getting feedback on?
That would actually need to happen before. So we have an update on our CIP, the current CIP pipeline on December 16th. We'll be back to talk about CIP in February. And so if there's input to be had on projects, it'll be in January, second half of February. But I need to have the budget pretty much baked by mid-March in terms of the draft. And so if there's another project in addition to Riverdale Road improvements that the committee would like to see, our plan is as of now to have 350,000 available next year as well as a yet to be determined project. And so if there's something that the committee would like to see, it would help if I know that by mid-February.
So I know that we've supported, or we're trying to support improvements along Riverdale Road. Is that going to take up the 350,000 we have for this year?
Well, it depends on
We vote on it.
well, it depends on a lot of things. So the recommendation goes to the council. The council embraces the idea, is my theory, and then we'll work with an engineer. We'll get cost estimates and figure that out. But there's the money is in CIP, so it's not lost at the end of the year. So if there's money left over, then it carries forward. But we're trying to set this up where we have 350 a year in undesignated walk, bike, drive related CIP. So we'll get input from the community, from you all, and come up with a project.
So do we need to take any action to support that money staying in the budget?
No.
Okay.
And thank you for that clarification, John. That was really helpful. I think I didn't appreciate the timing. And then I also just to your point about keeping the agendas concise in that time frame, I think you know, I can talk with Melissa more, but also if town staff just need a break in that period, just let us know. I think we can, you know, if there's nothing pressing to discuss with you all, we can certainly pause or work around your
Skip a
needs.
meeting.
Yeah.
Great. We appreciate that. Anything else, Melissa?
I don't have anything. Does anybody else?
We have a member of the public on the line just in case they wanted to provide any comments, or we're just here to listen.
Just here to listen, interested in the transportation area. Thanks.
Sounds great.
And thank you very much for being here.
Yes. I'm glad
We
you joined
appreciate
us.
that.
It's usually more eventful than this, but I did just really quickly put a link to the project sidewalk. There's a video, but I'll stick their webpage in there too, but I'll send you the email that more information about project sidewalk.
Great.
And I don't want to take up too much more time, and this is tangential, but I did just want to share because I think it is of interest is the Kenilworth Pedestrian Safety Action Plan that we went to. It does sound like MDOT is in very early phases of planning, and they are open to all sorts of feedback. So I don't know if there's a way of anything the committee can do to help kind of compile some general feedback or anything to share with the council or anything along those lines, but it does seem like they are very open to ideas and suggestions, and so it seems like a good opportunity for us to kind of push for some improvements. And then related, I posted on the town talk listserv, but at that meeting, they mentioned the state just rolled out their vulnerable road user survey. And it's in a format that's an interactive map, and you can kind of just identify any pedestrian or cycling challenges that you have and add comments. And they used a similar format for the pedestrian safety action plan. And it does seem like not a ton of people comment, and it does seem like the comments though are get kind of integrated in the plan. So it does seem like they're looking at a lot of different factors, but it does seem like a very good opportunity to potentially highlight some of the issues on state roads in town. And I'll certainly plug it for residents again, but did just want to raise it as potential opportunity to kind of push the state in some other areas around these issues that I know the town has been raising with them for a long time.
Thanks, Dan. And we were just looking at that map this morning.
Dan, if you could forward the email that you shared on Town Talk, that maybe I can add some of that information to the constant contact emails in the next couple weeks and just encourage folks to get engaged.
We'll do. I'll forward that right after we get off.
Thank you.
So is there, I don't think I get a constant contact email. Is there a place to sign up for that?
I'm pretty sure, Melissa, you should maybe check your spam, because I added everyone from this committee onto it. So just double check that it's not going into your spam filter. But
Okay.
I'll also confirm that there's not a typo or something in your email.
Okay.
That's the new format, like the town of Riverdale Park newsletters and things are going out on that. Is that right, Jessica? Okay.
Yes, that's weekly. And then of course, we have the status and information report, which is bi-weekly, and then the town crier that's monthly and bi-monthly in the summertime and this time of year. So
I do think I've been getting all of those, so thank you for transitioning us over to the list.
certainly.
So if nobody else has anything, nobody has anything else to talk about, I guess we don't even have to motion. We can just adjourn.
Well, I appreciate your efforts, and as discussed early on, we'll send out Outlook invites moving forward, and hopefully that helps with attendance. But we appreciate your time and your efforts
Again,
sincerely.
we
Likewise,
certainly
thank you all.
appreciate town staff time.
All right, y'all take care.
You too. Take care. Bye.
Sure.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.